Can you say hard hats, folks? Hard hats, lunch pails, steel toe boots.
Anything short of a championship this year is a failure. Look at this boomer right here.
You've just got so much talent here.
Somebody said we need to apologize for Jalen.
Can I close it, John? What are we apologizing for? What did we say? What did we do?
Super Bowl, Jimmy.
Amit slacking didn't give us the roll in Super
That's
Bowl.
all right. Amit shouldn't be here.
You know what? It's sad. It's a sad day that the Pats are in the Super Bowl. We should get used to it. But I still have my Tom Brady shirt on. Clear eyes. Tom Brady can't lose. I want Patrick Mahomes to remember that Tom Brady still owns him. If Patrick Mahomes wins tonight, all the talk show hosts tomorrow will be like, "Is he the greatest? Is he the greatest?" The answer is easily no. Tom Brady beat him in the AFC Championship. Tom Brady beat him in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady will always have his number, and he will always have the Super Bowl number 2. Mahomes is going to get what? 3 if he wins tonight?
Yeah.
2, 3? Which is, listen, that's great. That's like now you're in Ben Roethlisberger's territory. You're not in Tom Brady's territory, okay? So let's put that to bed.
I mean, he would be over the same course of time that Brady got his 3.
Sure, but he has to do it. I said this on the last show. He's on track, but he has to have two more careers than the one he's going to have if he wins tonight. Tom Brady has done what Patrick Mahomes has done 3x, not 3 more times. Like he's had 3 of Patrick Mahomes' careers. Tom Brady had 3 of Patrick Mahomes' career. Tom Brady can go into the Hall of Fame if you divide his career up into 3. So Patrick Mahomes is 1/3 of the way there if he wins tonight. I don't want to have Brady Mahomes debates. I will not be entertaining any Brady Mahomes debates moving forward. That being said, Niners tonight. I'm taking the Niners.
Okay.
And yes, I have my Brady shirt on.
Yes, he does. Yep. And, backward hat Jimmy means Super Bowl Jimmy means Jimmy's hosting a Super Bowl party, was nice enough to
I can hear people walking into my play. I don't know what's going on down there. It's going to be a mess. I had half my eyes. I had one eye on the game, one eye trying to make my place presentable. So apologies in advance if I'm a little bit off.
Appreciate you. Brian Space has no time for this Brady talk. Let's move on to the game, which we absolutely
talk
do.
Brady a little bit.
It's fine. We will.
Done.
We're going to talk about your food spread too. I'm also going to talk about your head might be a little cut off at the top there. So, we want to see all of you. Yep. Okay. There we go.
Here we go.
All right. So the game, I know what the argument is going to be. Is it going to be, good win or, crap win against a team without, Butler and Rozier and Celtics let them hang around. I'm going to go with good win, though still, I'll tell you, it's twofold. Good win in the sense that you lose this game. Here's what we say all the time. Prior versions of the Celtics lose these games. You know what I mean?
We do say that.
That's good. And yeah, I mean, I get the all wins are good wins. Ultimately, in that moment, at that time, whatever is going on, you have to make more plays.
Cop out, Blorp. All wins are good wins. Save it.
Blorp doesn't always do that.
That's a cop out.
No,
I know he doesn't always, but that is a cop out comment. John, they were like 4 points away from a horrible loss. So how can you say?
I know, I get it. Let me get through it all. Okay. I will say good win in the sense that you lose this last year or in years prior. When you're in it, you're in it. Whatever's happening, sometimes it's a little mucky and it's not working out great. And you just have to do what happened to me there? How does that happen?
Hey, congratulations. The fireworks.
I don't know if the viewers do that or Amit. I can never figure it out when I get the balloons going.
There's a hack.
But what I'll always say is it's all about like the habits and like what happens in the playoffs. Do you still pull this off against good teams playing full strength in the playoffs when you kind of dip in and out of stuff? I don't know. That's kind of what it all comes down to. Everyone's like flooding us with these like, record against this and blah, 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 that. Ultimately, you just want to know, like, are they going to, when everybody else mans up, I think they win all these games because of talent. That's the difference, right? And no, yes. I don't do that.
Outlast.
This is not what we want. It is just simply, you want a clear indication. Why? Because we don't know. They have better talent than everybody else. So they can have games where things are, you can have a 6 turnover Jalen game when you have Holiday hitting all of his threes. Like you can have these things that happen because they have so much more talent than the other team. Look at Miami on the other side. They didn't have a lot going for them today. That's fine. It's just in the playoffs, it's going to be a little bit different than that. So that's what you want to feel better about. So they're good wins in the sense that you lose them last year and you lose your mind over it, right? Like, oh my God, how do they lose to this team? And they made good plays. Like they made a lot of good plays late, like winning plays, late offensive rebounds, good stops, ratcheted up the defense where they need to. That's what you got to do in those situations. Make more plays than the other team. So I like it. You just don't like them drifting in and out of bad habits as they have pretty much since January in a lot of games. You're not seeing clean games start to finish. It's not about blowing every team out. It's just trying to see them play like that kind of complete form of basketball all the way through. That's all. But
no,
it's a tougher version of them that I like seeing where they don't wilt and crap themselves. That's why I think it's a good win. They don't crap themselves in these games anymore. Not like they used to.
So I guess for me, it comes down to it's a win. And I guess you can shade to the good side. Every win's a good win. I like the way they execute down the stretch still. They're not, like you said, they're not falling over themselves late in the games. Miami's a tough team. Whoever they're coached well, obviously.
These comments drive me insane. Guys, we have higher.
We get it.
Guys, it's not about the best regular season record. It's about feeling good about the team in the playoffs. Nothing about whether they get 58 wins, 54 wins, 61 wins in the regular season. None of it matters if they play awesome or horribly in the playoffs. None of it. So the win is a win is stupid. It absolutely matters in the playoffs. Now it doesn't matter. You're looking for good habits, playing well, good execution, and like being able to execute in critical situations late, which you got some of tonight. That's why I'm putting it in the good good win category.
No, and that's fair. That's definitely fair. I mean, I think when you look at just a team like Miami, they're always gonna play hard, regardless of who's taking the court. So at some point in this game, they realized, okay, we're playing hard enough, and we can actually make a comeback here. Bam had a really good game for them. He always seems to bring it against the Celtics team. He was doing it against when, Rob was on the team. He was always out playing Rob, and he's still doing it. So that Miami team is going to be difficult. You do not want to see them in the first round. And that was without Butler tonight. And again, the Celtics did beat them pretty easily when Butler was in the game, but they're a team that's going to bring it in the playoffs. They already know how to beat you. They've done it before. They clamp down on the defensive end when things really matter. And in a 7-game series, find me a better coach than Coach Spo that's going to be able to, win that part of the matchup. So it's a win, and everyone.
Did you say Coach Joe?
Close. I said Coach Spo, but I can see how you could get confused there.
I like it.
Oh, but Tatum had a decent game. I loved the couple of timely shots by Holiday there in the fourth as Miami tried to really, take it to the Celtics and complete that comeback. But, that's those are the big shots that are the difference between this year and maybe last year's team or a couple of years ago's team is veteran guys stepping up in big moments and hitting timely shots. So the Celtics, Miami's too good regardless of who's in and out. They're too good to just roll over and die. The Celtics jumped out to a 10-point lead, and it felt like they were relatively up, like 6 to 10 points, like all game. But Miami just kept going. They kept fighting back, and in that fourth quarter, you knew they were going to make some sort of run. Yeah. They did, and the good win part of it comes in late in the fourth. Celtics did not crap the bed. They ended up hitting those shots, and they ended up staving off that Heat comeback. So in that sense, it was a good.
Yeah, the
zero fear. That's a little crazy to me having zero fear.
So that's the next question I'll ask. The next question I'll ask is this. And again, like I said, I'm checking the box in the good win category because I like the late game execution. I like being able to make the plays. I like being able to kind of pull it together, even though it did get they got a little sloppy and rushed and they let him get back in it a couple times. It's fine. That's all good, but fully healthy Miami team and a definite playoff atmosphere tonight kind of gave you a taste of like what you could expect if you get this team in round one, which again, I know we had a comment here that nobody fears them, but you got to be kidding me if you don't fear them.
I don't get that.
And I think Joe treated this like a playoff game. If you notice, no Cornette in he played a playoff rotation in the second half. They were down to 8. It makes me wonder whether Tillman and Oh, it's not going to come to me, is it?
Who?
The other guy.
Kada?
No, the other guy, the guy they got at the trade deadline.
Tillman.
The
Springer.
other guy, Springer.
Why are we talking about Springer?
Whether they can crack a rotation, because I think Luke's out.
I don't think Springer's a part of the plan.
No chance?
This year. Maybe I'm wrong, but different positions regardless. I think Tillman's definitely a guy that they see contributing. Springer, Jaden Springer. There you go.
Yeah, Joe doesn't remember his name either.
But no, that spot has been up for grabs all year, John. Regardless of what Joe has said and what Bobby has tried to, brainwash everybody into thinking, that spot has been up for grabs all year. And that's one of the reasons why they went out and got a guy like Tillman, because they know it's up for grabs. And it's through this X amount of games, however many we're in now, they know that that's a spot in the rotation, at the end of the rotation, that they could use a little boost in. And so they went out and made a move. I think just based on what I've seen from Tillman, again, in limited clips and in his highlight reels, you can see that he can play. He can defend all 5 positions, which is something that Brad obviously loves. He wants 5 tight ends out there. And he can run. He's athletic. He can pass for a big guy. And he's going to be physical. And he's going to be, seems like a type of guy that plays with a little chip on his shoulder. He'd be perfect for a game against Miami. I know he was hurt in this one. He's going to play. But that's the type of player you want in a physical matchup. Knock Bam down, so make these guys a little bit more uncomfortable and go toe to toe with them. So I think that's one of the reasons why they got him. So
I like it. I like people talking about Tillman as a Giannis stopper. Tillman's not going to play enough minutes, no matter what, to be an anything stopper.
If everyone's healthy,
but it's a nice kind of supplemental person to put in there.
Sure, and you've got a guy like Porzingis who's hopping around out there half the time. You don't know. You might need a guy like Tillman to play more minutes than you originally anticipated.
Yeah. Jimmy, I just want to put this one up for you here.
That is hilarious. Patricia, don't make me ban you, because I have that power. I can ban you right now if I want to. I won't, because I'm a nice guy. Do not trigger me.
This is like a Krzyzewski name where the K is silent, right? It's going to be like...
It's Matt Patricia. Lesinski. Sorry, Patty, you're wrong, and your opinion means nothing to me. Next.
I'm a Patriots fan, and I think that, yes, the Patriots probably did cheat in every Super Bowl, and too freaking bad. You're
not cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah, you didn't catch him. So a couple other things to look at from this game. The Porzingis effect. Again, I think healthy, clearly the number 2. Sometimes number 1 option, just simply when you have the mismatch, you're just going to beat on it here on this team.
Yeah.
If you go back to like our before the season conversation, where's Porzingis going to get his? He's going to get his right after Tatum gets his. And I think that's the game plan here.
Starting to happen now, John.
They're going to look to feed him whenever they can. And again, he had another big first quarter, and getting involved. Then he got tweaked again. And I swear, man, like I was never one of these, like, put a guy in bubble wrap sort of things. I am kind of getting there with Porzingis. I think it's, like, never been more clear that, like, he's obviously the difference maker. Everything that you can say about this team this year versus last year, I think almost all of it comes back to Porzingis. Like, the major differences.
I would say, like 80%. I think I'll give Holiday a little bit of credit, too, because I think he has stepped up in some moments, and just his defensive presence out there, ability to defend the opponent's best player. But Porzingis, to your point, is going to be the reason they either win or don't win the title this year, because he's the main. I'm not saying that he's their MVP, but if they're utilizing him and he's playing the way he has been recently, John, and if you go look at the last handful of games, call it like 10 games, they're finally making a concerted effort to get him the ball. They're looking for him. At the beginning of the year, we were saying, why is he only taking like 7 field goals or 9 field goals? Why aren't they looking to him? This is a 7-foot unicorn that can score from all over the court, and he's not a part of the offense yet. It's almost like they're treating him like Rob out there half the time. Now, obviously, I'm exaggerating, but now if you go look at the last handful of games, so call it 10, the field goal attempts are where they need to be, upper teens to low 20s, and that doesn't include him going to the line, which last game, John, Friday night, I think he went 14 of 14 from the line on top of somewhere around 20 field goals attempts. So that was number one on the whiteboard in the locker room on Friday was get Porzingis the ball, exploit mismatches, and let him do its thing. Everybody watch and step back and watch. So he's a huge get for them. And yeah, I mean, to your point, he is the main difference between last year and this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also to your point, wrap him up. I mean, he still needs to play enough where he is in the flow of things and he's comfortable and the team's getting in the right, groove together. But as we near the playoffs, take those minutes down, really think about back-to-back situations and stuff like that, there's no need for it.
I think he plays like 3 games in April. For real. I mean, it's like it's crazy because he gets look, this was our fear, right? Like big guys have lots of parts and they can get hit everywhere. He got hit in one of those parts today. I think for the second time against Miami this season. And it's amazing the lengths broadcasters will go to avoid saying that someone got hit in the nuts, but he did. But he also took a shot to the back. Looks like some extracurricular activity there. Thanks, Richard Jefferson. Just say he got hit in the sack, man.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. But he also took a shot to the back, and then he lands weird sometimes. And then there's times he just looks like he's hobbling back up the court. I'm always worried about it. I mean, we held our breath with Rob. This is like that times 5.
Totally. Because of what his importance on that offensive end.
Rob
had zero.
It's night and day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can't afford to just lose Porzingis. When you lost Rob, you were obviously pissed, and it had an effect on the team, but they were still able to make do. If you just lose Porzingis, knock on wood, again, this is dark. We're getting dark here, but if he was for some reason not able to play for an extended period of time, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And you could say that for a lot of teams that are contending. If they lose their top 2 guy, they're screwed. I mean, it's not unique to the Celtics, but it just goes to show how important he's been. He makes them, in my opinion, better than the rest. So if he's gone, you're now in the middle of the pack. You're going to still fight and claw your way to maybe you can claw your way to something special still, but you're no longer the favorite. No, nowhere close.
That's the thing. And so in years gone by, I mean, this is so obvious, and I know we're saying it's just, you just really see it again and again. Porzingis last in the early parts of February so far through 5 games, 27 points a game, 57% field goals. But his last few games, 25, 34, 31, 26. He's clearly emerging as that, as we said, is those games with 6, 5, 7 field goals were but you guys forget that you guys forget that you had him, because sometimes they do. And that's always the cheat code where if you have games where Jaylen Brown remembers that he can't dribble. I'm not going to say forgot how to dribble. I don't think he's ever known how to dribble. But when he remembers that he can't dribble or he dribbles too much, Tatum's getting blitzed or the 3 isn't falling, and you throw it to Porzingis and he's the cheat code, and it changes everything. Yep. And you're right. And you mentioned Holiday too. The Holiday numbers are staggering from 3. He leads the league among qualified people in corner threes, but also his threes since midway through December is 50 something. It's
unreal. He's getting wide open looks and he's hitting them.
Period in the entire league since before Christmas. So he's, and
it's when he hits them too sometimes. You know what I mean? Like tonight, for example, 2 huge ones. You know what's funny, John? He leads the league in corner threes. Kristaps Porzingis has yet to hit a corner 3 this year.
Has yet to hit. He hasn't taken very many.
No, he's just not over there that often.
He's not up there. He's always above the break when they're playing that pick and
right. Where he needs to be. By all means, keep doing what you're doing. You don't need to take the 2 that he hit. The 2 that he hit, his foot was on the line. But it's just funny that it's kind of, I guess it's just a fun fact.
Yeah, but
fun facts here.
But things like this, reminds me, games like this reminds you the Porzingis effect, obviously, which we're reminded of all the time. But the Holiday thing is it's again, even if he hasn't quite found his role in this offense and he's figuring himself out. in terms of like how he's supposed to fit here, and he's deferring to more people. And there's some games people are like, I don't know, Holiday, I don't know if I love it. He's on the decline and this and that. If Holiday does nothing other than play smart defense, defend multiple positions, and then hits those threes, it's a Marcus Smart upgrade. Why? Because who's taken those threes in years past when they're forcing it out of Tatum's and Brown's hands? Marcus, at a 31% clip. That's the difference.
So
now
true. So true. Yeah.
It's the guy who's knocking him down at a much higher clip. Plus, he's able to create on his own too. And a lot of guys can't do it. Has he been like an offensive juggernaut? No, and they haven't really needed him to. And I know, that you get a mixed room a little bit on Holiday and how good he's been. I think he's been everything that you were hoping he was going to be. What else is he supposed to be on a team like this? He's not supposed to be taking 17, 18 shots a game.
No, absolutely not. And that's why, he is making.
And I agree. The Tatum passing today, low key, he played a very patient game today. Very patient game. But anyway.
I agree with this too. But let's be real. If you watch Friday's game, we specifically talked about Tatum in the third quarter, his vision in that third quarter in his game on Friday night. So you're right. He is passing well, but also we are talking about it. We're not slandering him. So I don't know why people feel the need to say that.
We're not. It might be the chat. Sometimes I feel that we think it's coming at us and it's not. They're responding to each other, and that's fine.
But I think in this case, he was saying no word on it. But yes, to your point, D. Simile, Tatum's passing has stood out to me at least over the last few games, and tonight's another example. And that's the difference between, we've always said that's what's going to separate Tatum and Brown, really, and it's true, is that Tatum's able to affect the game in more ways than just scoring. And that's whether it's with passing, sometimes it's with rebounding. I'm not going to go as far as to say playmaking, because I've been anti trying to make them out to be playmakers. They're not, but he has elevated that aspect of his game for sure.
Yeah. Brown, this has to be Louise changing her name. That's okay, Louise. I don't mind. We're now going to call Louise Lord of Fame.
Yes. Burner spotted.
Yeah. But that's all good. The Brown, again, sloppy ass game, too much dribbling, fine. But I liked it, after the Duncan Robinson, and I don't care. I'm not like, it was unnecessary, but who cares? Heat of the moment, he got frustrated.
Sure.
He tossed Robinson. I don't care. I actually kind of
like it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't be dirty. I don't want dirtiness, but I like being emotional, being physical, giving back to these guys, make them think twice about something.
And what happened right after it? He not great results, but the next possession, he absolutely just murdered Bam on defense. Mm-hmm. He had him in the post, and Bam was trying to back him in, and Brown murdered him.
Sure.
Okay? He could not. He was just physical, quick hands. Bam wanted nothing to do with it. Couldn't get. And then he gets the ball back, and he works a mismatch, and he gets to the line. And I was like, here we go. Jalen's angry. And then he missed 2 free throws. But
angry Jalen, he's capable of being angry.
But I loved angry Jalen. Yes. Because
better than anybody else on the team.
And that's the thing is and this is where we talk about when you get angry Jalen, who plays like that, and then you don't. When we say we'd like to see Jalen more aggressive, that's what we're talking about. Because there's a level when he's super focused and locked in that he can impose his physical will on people just by being the athletic freak that he is. The James Harden game in the playoffs is one great example. Like, fuck it. I'm picking him up full court and let's go. And that's oh my God, can you do that 80 something times in a season? No. But when you see it and you know that it's there, when you don't see it, you're like, yeah, it seemed like a passive game or one of those, coming to me.
Well, that's why we're like, wait, where was Jaylen Brown this whole quarter? He's way better than just standing in the corner. And now,
and I think it was floppy, but
when the switch is flipped and he gets into that mode, people don't want to get in his way. People will get out. And when Jaylen Brown is coming down the lane, nobody wants to be on the other end of that. So angry JB. He does need to hit the free throws. That's been one thing about Jaylen that he hasn't been able to kick is he'll go over 2 at the line. Like, I'm sure we can all remember multiple occasions where that's happened in bigger moments. So that's probably something that needs to continue to work on. But now I'm getting hit from people in the comments saying Jaylen Brown passes too. It's like, guys, okay, everybody passes. Everybody does everything great. Okay, like what do you want?
Yeah, look, man,
The
everybody's
angry stepchild treatment. It's like, okay, we don't say something nice about Tatum, then we do, and then well, you better say something nice about Brown too. It's like, guys, it's like we're all watching the same game. We see what.
Yeah, this isn't a third grade Valentine's Day
know.
party where everyone gets one, okay? It's selective, okay?
Seriously.
I'm going to give Valentines to the people who I want to give Valentines to, okay? I don't care. We're not worried about hurt
these
feelings.
guys don't get their flowers when they do something great.
Yeah.
Like, give me a break.
Yeah. So every once in a while, John came home with a few Valentines short of a few other people. That's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Everybody gets a medal, I guess, John.
4 weeks of crying, and that's, and then I was over it. It's fine.
Yep. In the Newton school system, I'm just glad the kids are going to school and they can have a Valentine's Day party this year. Are they still doing Valentine's Day parties, or did they get rid of those too? They allow kids to have Valentine's Day parties anymore, John?
Wait, what? Who said we need a show? And then why are you saying we don't need a show?
You guys do not need a show. This is absolutely terrible.
Okay.
Thanks, Albert. There's a little X in the top right corner of the screen.
You could hit the X.
Go ahead and hit that in. Keep on your way. Is somebody holding a gun to your head and watch our show?
You can go.
Yeah.
The Brownie Awards have been canceled.
Yeah.
They've been canceled.
Imagine living like that guy, just forcing himself to do things that he hates and just complaining about it. Oh,
no, I didn't have to talk with them. They just had to fill out 18 Valentine's Day. And I'm like, I was like, do you even like this kid? And she's like, no. And I'm like, then don't freaking give him one.
Oh, come on, John.
No,
everyone gets one.
Everyone gets one. Everyone gets one. I actually fully support it. But I was like, it's just funny they were making Valentine's. I was like, didn't you say this kid sucks? And she's like, yeah. And I was like,
those are the ones where you secretly have a crush on, though, right? The ones that are like the mean to you. At least that's what I used to tell myself. Every girl is so mean to me. I can't believe they all like me this much.
Isn't it weird? Anyway,
none of these girls would talk to me. It's embarrassing how much they like me.
Guys, you don't have much more time to insult me and Jimmy, or the tandem of me and Jimmy, because eventually someone else is going to get on the show, and Jimmy's going to go do what he was supposed to do today and host a Super Bowl party. Those of you looking to get in on some of the action, and you can't get in on Jimmy's action. You can't eat some of the vittles over there, but you can get in on this action if you want to get in on some props. And Taylor Swift has made it. So every prop is live right now, okay? Is she performing?
Get him in.
She's going to jump out there?
Taylor? Absolutely 0% chance.
I think she jumps out there and does for part of it.
0.0. She's not going to upstage Usher. Usher and Alicia Keys, she's not going to upstage them.
She's coming out.
Report that Alicia Keys is going to be up on stage with them. She's not coming out, dude.
I like Alicia Keys.
I do too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So head to FanDuel.com/Boston if you want to get in. What? This is the wrong one.
That is the wrong one. I don't know why that one's there. I did the same thing on Friday. It's further down the list. It's a little bit further down. There you go.
That one. FanDuel.com. That's the promo. It's even more money. FanDuel.com/Boston. 200 in bonus bets if your first bet of 5 or more wins. So you got to sign up and win a. You got to win a bet.
You don't have much time, folks.
You don't have much time. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a $5 bet on it.
Yeah. But
you got to win. Jimmy, what's your bet on Usher's first song? I'm going, yeah. Come out. Dun, 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 dun. That's a good way to get the people going right off the bat, hook them.
Usher's like your generation, huh? Like you feel good at, like that's a wheelhouse sort of guy for you?
He was one of my favorite singers growing up. He was by far, I think if you were an R&B fan, you know that like from like 2000 to like 2015, he was probably like the guy, maybe 2000. Yeah, like right on that time. He had hit after hit. And he's a performer. So he'll have choreographed dancing and stuff. It'll be a good show. I don't think it's going to be like all time. What's your favorite halftime show of all time? Do you have one?
Yeah. I mean, the Prince one, I think is the standard there when it's raining in Miami. And he just rips it.
Mine's U2.
And the U2 one because of the moment and the time and the Patriots aspect of it. And just like, it's just that just had like a, goosebumps sort of stuff. In terms of the ones I've seen in person, hard to say. The Lady Gaga one was actually pretty good.
there's no way if you're a Pats fan, you remember a second of that. If you're a real Pats fan, you don't remember a second of that Lady Gaga halftime show because you were
because you were
miserable.
furious. But I was there.
Katy
Tom
Perry
Petty
was good.
Tom Petty was pretty cool.
Katy Perry came out in like a
even though it was a mellow show, but yeah,
robotic elephant or something. Katy Perry.
Yeah,
I infamously hit that bet. I picked her first song.
I was at the Timberlake,
the
nip slip one.
You were at that?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the first Super Bowl I covered. I'll tell you
saw
this.
that on TV.
I've never seen people care less about anything than that entire halftime show. As soon as it went on, it wasn't like buzz and everybody's there. People were like they were singing and people were just talking to each other, like nothing. It was so tame in there for that whole thing. If not for what happened that people caught on TV, that would have been the least talked about one. Also, you can't go wrong with I think the Snoop Dogg, and Dre.
Oh, that was good. A lot of people
LA
liked that one.
Was freaking cool.
I actually didn't think it was going to be good, and it was.
If you want to reach the widest range of people, you're talking, a big swath of people who liked that music back then, and then people now who still recognize that, like, okay, totally. Yeah, that's cool. That stuff's cool. I think you reached a massive range of people with that one. It was so good. I just wish it was nighttime, but the setup was cool with the cars and the vintage. I thought it was awesome.
And then it was just like one guy after another. It's like,
it was cool. Then 50 Cent is upside down,
Yeah. Oh, that was good.
That was good. Anyway, head over there, FanDuel.com. You can get some bets in. A lot of fun.
What's your bet, John? Before I go, are you what's your football the main bet that everyone talks about? The money line, the spread.
Zero time thinking about this game because all year long I've thought the Niners were the best team by a considerable margin. Talent-wise, so there's a world in which I think they come out and just stomp them. Like who did Kansas City get killed by that one year where that wasn't even close? Tampa. Was it Tampa? Who was that?
Well, Tampa beat Kansas City, but it was close. Maybe it wasn't close. Tom Brady. Yeah, Tom Brady had his way with them as he should.
It was just the defense. There was just too much going on there, and there's just the other team was just too good, and they just weren't good enough.
I'm on San Fran. I don't even. What's your answer?
So my mind says San Fran, but I think there's a version. I think there's a world in which
you are horrible. What is your answer? Make your bet. I'm the bookie.
31-9 was that one. It's the Brock Purdy factor. When Brock Purdy plays bad, when Brock Purdy plays average. Or doesn't have a good San Fran's a dead average team, so he can really lower the level there. So I gun to my head, I'm staying San Fran, but I might flip it right at kickoff. I really don't know. I really don't know.
I'm taking San Fran, and I'm betting Christian McCaffrey MVP because if San Fran wins, it's going to be because of McCaffrey. Even though typically a quarterback does get the MVP, typically, not always. I think McCaffrey's he could end up with 3 touchdowns tonight. So that's my pick. I'm taking San Fran. Give me I'll even take him with the spread -2.5. The Chiefs are playing better than they were in the regular season, but they just weren't a dominant team this year. You really just have to do a couple things. Get past that. So San Fran's D-line's elite. Break through that Chiefs O-line. Don't let Mahomes get in front of you, obviously, out and scrambling, because that's where he can do damage. But then just take care of Kelsey. Be physical with him. Don't let him roam around. He's a great freelancer. Do not let Kelsey roam around. And I think San Fran will be okay. That's where I'm at.
Chiefs have good corners. I don't know. I might flip it before you go.
Are they close, John? I get the F out of here.
Yep. Hold
on. Who do the Celtics have next? I don't even know. Oh, New York? Is it Brooklyn?
Brooklyn. Yeah.
Ben Simmons playing yet, or is he hurt again?
I don't know.
Depends on the day, I guess.
I think it's the same thing as I stopped caring.
This guy doesn't trust Purdy either. A lot of people don't trust Purdy. I mean, even the Niners didn't trust Purdy. They tried to sign Tom to start the year, but he got him there. Purdy got him this far.
I will say this. Debo's my favorite player in the NFL.
Debo's awesome. He could just score in so many different ways. He's your
my
favorite player, huh? Yeah.
I love him. Yeah, like a receiver.
It's
who
love,
plays
huh?
Snarl of a frigging short yardage running back. He is just nasty in the open field. He is so fun. And I got one of my little ones who never got out of jammies today.
Oh, let's say hi. Bring her on.
No, she's
Let's
not
get her
coming out.
pick. Let's get her pick.
She's been staring at me through the glass the whole time though.
You guys,
Hi, Rosie.
you cooking anything for the game, John?
Nah, man, very chill. We had a dinner party Friday, and I did some cooking there. And
Nice.
in that, we have it's a very chill, very very chill. And yes, Pats should have drafted him.
Like
but,
you could say that
hold on
for
one
a
second.
lot of wideouts that they didn't.
Well,
have.
that you know the whole story behind that, right?
I don't think so.
Everyone in the room wanted Debo, and Belichick was like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but he went with Nikhil because he liked his interview. Yeah,
that sounds baffling to me. I don't think Nikhil would even be a good interview. Real quick, I offloaded all my cooking this year. I'm not doing any cooking.
Not even your buffalo dip.
I had somebody do it for me. We ordered pizza from this place called Leone's Sicilian Pizza in Somerville. It's supposed to be the best.
Oh, you just buy a big dish.
Two trays,
Yeah.
cheese, pepperoni.
I
got wings from the pub in Somerville. Drove down there today. Walked in, got 2 big things of wings. Supposed to be actually we've had them before. Unbelievable wings. We got the honey hot and barbecue. Got the buffalo chicken dip that somebody made. And that's pretty much it. A couple of chips and dip options floating around. But other than that, not getting too crazy with it. Keeping to the playing the hits. We're just playing the hits, pizza and wings and guacamole. You can't really go wrong. And then we get some desserts floating around. But that's really it for the Super Bowl. It's not a Pats Super Bowl. So it's not like it's not a holiday over here. But we'll have some fun.
It's weird. It's like I worked 10 Super Bowls, or whatever it was the Patriots were in.
Yeah.
And so I'm so used to it, like not enjoying. I only enjoyed one as a fan, and that was the first one, which was the best one. And every other one I worked for.
I only went to one, and it was probably the best one of all time.
It's the best game. It's the best game. Toscano and Zannis covering it.
I sat next to Karn, and I'll never forget. Phil was on my other side. I sat next to Karn, and I had to do the game story. Oh my God, that game story was a disaster. Trying to write that game story, delete, paste, delete again, blasting through it, picking the end zone. I'm like, oh my God, this game story is not going to be in on time.
Here's why Falcons was not the best one. Okay, Falcons was not the best one because the game sucked for 43 minutes. It sucked. Fun. So that's the thing is what happened in the Falcons is historic, but the game sucked until they scored to make it 28-10 with 3 minutes left in the third. So you went 30 plus 12, 42 minutes of the game sucking, and then everything happened. So no, pound for pound, the best thing about Seattle and the Patriots was they were consensus the 2 best teams in the league.
Back and forth.
Both potential dynastic teams, like a power in the NFC, power in the AFC, and it went blow for blow the entire game of high-level football, the entire game long, extremely high-level football, and then possibly the biggest flip in win probability in the history of championship sports happened, and the single greatest play in the history of championship sports. So it's not even close for me. The Seattle
it's
one
not.
is the best one.
That game was so.
It's not even close.
People are only going to remember the pick in the end zone, and rightfully so. But so many big plays happened in that game. The touchdown drive that Pats had right before that was unbelievable. That Brady took them down on, and then the catch that who made that catch? I already forget his name for Seattle. It was borderline,
Yep. Oh my God, it was all over again. Just
it was like helmet catch all over again. Yeah, it was helmet catch all over again, and then
sick to my stomach. The emotional.
Edelman had an unbelievable catch. Yeah, Edelman had an unbelievable catch in that game. By the way, speaking of his podcast with Gronk is awesome. I don't know if you've had a chance to check any of it out, but it's really good.
It was
Patriots porn.
It might be one of the best football games. That's the best game.
Yeah, totally. We got
incredible.
100 of these things. Oh, Sweden. Did you get this one? Did I miss it?
I've never seen Sweden.
Is that a lot? Is that like, are we rich? It's
Nope.
okay if we're not. It's okay if we're not.
Retire.
How do we get it up there on the screen? Oh, there it is.
How's that? What's up, Sweden? Early 80s?
Sweden.
I can jam.
Early 80s,
jam.
okay. I wonder what he thinks
good.
of this team compared to the 80s Celtics. There's a debate going around if this team could beat the 86 team, John.
I think you can't compare anything anymore. You know,
Sure.
you if we joke about like plumbers and stuff like that playing with Kuzi, you know, back then, like it's just too different now to compare it anymore. It's too different.
They're all dribbling around. They all look like Bobby back then, dribbling around.
One-handed. When they go left, they're still dribbling with their right.
Yeah, exactly. Just doing like a little circle. Yeah, exactly.
That's what my daughter's team does. By the way, I got quick shameless promo if we're going to talk about it, okay?
Oh my God.
This weekend, okay? You're coaching the 6th grade Sparks, Newton girls basketball. And you know, you can't come back from deficits in these games like late. You can't foul and send people to the free throw line. Like it just doesn't work that way. And the clock is running. So it's horrible. If you foul somebody, it knocks a minute off the clock while they shoot their free throws.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
That sucks.
So they're down like 5 points in the last period. It's impossible to get that many buckets. The scores of these games are like 24-22.
Right.
So they literally had to pitch a shutout and then get a bunch of baskets, and they're still losing. And I'm just telling them, I was like, you have to get a steal every time down. Right. And they just went bananas. My daughter, I think, must have had. So I took my daughter to the Memphis game. Celtics fans will like this, okay? And I was telling her, I told them in a timeout heading into the final period, I was like, you know, Marcus Smart, you guys know who that is, right? And my daughter had just seen the Marcus tribute video at the Memphis game. And I was like, what he does, it's called the Cobra Strike. And he sits back. And as soon as you expose the ball, bang, he takes it. What do they do? They had like 8 steals in the last quarter, kept getting the ball back. And again, layups at this age are like a 1 in 4.
Yeah, totally. It's
possibility.
like
so they're down by 1 point with 28 seconds left, and the other team's dribbling up, and all they had to do was just stand there, and there's nothing we could do. And I'm like, you gotta steal it. And my daughter pokes it free, length of the court, friggin' going to her left because she ended up on that side of the court. Puts it up there, boom, it drops.
Let's
13 seconds left, and that was it. The other team never got a shot off.
Did you go crazy?
Was the end of the game.
Did you go crazy? Did you have to contain yourself?
The girls went crazy.
That's good. That's all.
They went crazy. I kept it relatively chill out of respect for the other team because that was tough.
You don't want to be that. You don't want to be that dad.
Didn't want to be that guy. So, Jimmy, I'll let you go, and I'm either going to decide to continue.
I'm not gonna let you go. So Joe
I'm going to end this stream.
Hopping on his.
Yeah, it was exactly. Zannis stole the ball. Yeah. Dude, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It really was. She was doing it all game long. She was just waiting, and just boop, just popping it away. And she's smaller, and she would just sprint ahead and go. It's great.
We got a future player on our hands here.
I don't disagree with this. I'm saying you can't compare because physically it's so different now, because I do think the bottom of the league back then didn't have the level of athletes you have now, and the level of shooting and the level of skill, but also the game called for different things because it was played a little bit more down low and a little more physical. But yes, the best thing about modern day basketball is Jimmy, for me, is for Larry Bird fans, boomers like me from the 80s, is definitively Larry Bird would have been an absolute monster in today's NBA because of all that he could do. He would be the greatest stretch 4 who's ever played. He would shoot 10, 12 threes a game. He'd average 30, 32 points. He didn't shoot threes.
But he would also probably have to shoot threes, wouldn't he?
He would be a monster. You talk about point forward. Oh my God.
Yeah. Would he be like, who would he be like today? Would he be kind of like?
I mean, Luka's a good comp.
No,
you know
why? No, Luka's
because he'd have the ball. He'd have the ball in his hand a lot. He'd play a lot of point forward.
Okay, but I feel like Bird plays more.
Honestly,
of a
he's a cross between. He's a cross between Bird and he's a cross between Luka and Jokic. You know?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Which that makes him. I guess that makes him pretty good.
And so you've already seen like one of the least athletic guys in the league. Jokic is the most dominant player. So you don't have to worry about Bird's. You don't have to worry about Bird's athleticism. It's proven that a guy right now can do it. And Bird honestly was probably the same level of thinker or better and shooter and passer. And all of that stuff and rebounder. Just amazing. So like Jokic is Bird reincarnate, just in a slightly larger body in the way that he does things. I think that's pretty much that's the best comp. But I also think he's a little bit more agile and nimble. He wasn't athletic, but he could move better than Jokic could. He could move a lot better than Jokic could move, and he would have been probably in better condition because their diet consisted of 18 Budweisers a night back then.
You could find Bird at like Sullivan's Tap after the game.
Dude, the inspiring story about the 86 team isn't that they worked out and blah, blah, blah and got in the best shapes of their lives. It was after a Christmas Day loss to the Knicks. They decided to give up beer for the rest of the year. That was their big sacrifice. So we're not gonna.
Or this whole beer thing's not working. Yeah, this guy, something's not working with our play here. That's funny. Yeah, do wish that I was able to watch Bird play because I only hear legendary comments about those days.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna bring in Josue. We're gonna make sure the Wi-Fi is good.
The scoreboard just went into the ceiling, so finally I'm good to go, man.
Wait, tag me out, bro. Tag me out.
Jimmy's got to go. Jimmy's got to play.
All right. Hey, boys. Have a happy Sunday, everybody. Thanks for watching. And go Niners.
Mahomes, best quarterback ever.
F the Chiefs.
Okay. Right, what's going on, buddy?
So it sounded like a fire alarm, but it was it took a while for them to put the scoreboard all the way up. I can't really show you guys right now, but it's all the way up there. But that delayed my appearance. What's going on, John?
Nothing. We were talking about my daughter's basketball game over the weekend, which she used Marcus Smart as inspiration to come up with a game-winning steal, and that because she was at the Memphis game, saw the tribute, was thinking I'm gonna be like Marcus.
That's what's up, man.
And we were talking about Larry Bird and where Jimmy ordered his food from. So we've reached that portion of the show. If you want to infuse a little basketball talk into it again, you can.
Yeah, man. I really, really like this game. Really enjoyed this game. It's unfortunate, no Jimmy Butler. Unfortunate injuries, I should say, to Terry Rozier and something his name was the guard who got hurt in the first quarter. Excuse me. But the Celtics still, did what they were supposed to in terms of executing. They didn't get caught up into the physicality, which Joe Mazzulla talked about after this game. He enjoys it. It's not something that he encourages. He's not saying go out there and, knock people out or whatever, but he enjoys the fact that the Celtics are able to respond to the friction and obviously not lose their head in the sense of game planning and execution, which I thought is phenomenal. I mean, on both ends of the floor, you could say that about Jason Tatum. I thought what Kristaps Porzingis was doing, man, was just causing fits down low in the paint. Al Horford, when Porzingis wasn't in there, doing a good job on Bam Adebayo. He did get scored on a couple of times, but I just think that constant resistance really impacted the game, especially when the Miami Heat just couldn't get that run to pull ahead. But they certainly made it interesting in that fourth quarter, and this crowd had their back the entire way. So, playoff type environment, I would say for sure. But you just wish Miami had, more of their guys to finish out than they had when they started. But yeah, man, Celtics did a really good job, and the whole back and forth between Duncan Robinson and Jaylen Brown, particularly the confrontation at the free throw line. Mazzulla loves that, which I thought was a great response to the question where Gary, of all people, asked him about this whole generation of swapping jerseys, taking pictures, everyone's friends with everybody. He loves that Jason Tatum is dialed in and doesn't get into that, obviously. And when you see that chippiness between Jaylen and Duncan Robinson, the Celtics didn't back down. It's about adapting to this type of environment and obviously not straying from the game plan, which Celtics did a really good job of, if you ask me and Joe Mazzulla, in this fourth quarter, and just closed out the game the way they were supposed to.
Yeah. That was what we were talking about in the beginning. Was like, is it not a great win because you struggled against a team that was missing, obviously Butler to start the game. Rozier goes out. Richardson goes out. You really only had, they mentioned this on the broadcast too.
Richardson, that was the guard. Sorry, slipped my mind.
One guy who could handle the ball, and that was Hero, and they just kind of put it on him, and he did a great job in the second half. I mean, the fact that they were able to stay that close, Hero was excellent.
Yeah, man,
but,
he was cooking.
So is it a bad game because you should have blown this team out, or is it a good game because even when things weren't going great for you, you made enough plays late to win, and it was tough and it was gritty, and you made those winning plays? And I settled on that. I liked this game too because I liked to being able to tough out a game on the road in a hostile environment. And again, we say hostile, it is Miami. It was 30% empty, and the other 70% was half Celtics fans.
A lot of green. Yeah.
Somebody put it in the comments here, like, we can't tell if this is Josue after the game or in the first quarter with the stands behind him. But
that's funny. That's accurate too, man. They even do this.
That's what it looks like.
They still do like the countdown at halftime. Like, come on, guys, go back to your seats. The game's about to start. Stop hanging out with your friends in the hallway, like, because that's the vibe in here. It's much more about like, hey, we're at the game, check us out. Posting on social media. But in the fourth quarter, you got that. You got that playoff environment, I think, for sure. And like you said, though, a lot of Celtics fans in here. A lot of people made the trip. You got that vibe from the airport, essentially. But I mean, this is that rivalry, man. I'm hoping these two teams meet each other in the playoffs because it would certainly be fun. But I also feel like we missed out on, Terry Rozier. Maybe Richardson gets going a little bit more in that second half. Maybe it gets a bit more interesting. Especially with what Miami has to deal with right now, with Jimmy Butler, having to take time to spend it with family, with things that he has going on in his personal life. So, but yeah, man, something's responded, and I think I think that's accurate, John. The way you just described, it's a good thing that they were able to crawl this one out as opposed to, winning by 20. I don't think that was certainly in the cards because the Miami Heat, they're always going to give you that effort, and the Celtics, on matinees. And in general, this season, when a team is missing one of their top guys, those are interesting games, for one reason or another. So, I mean, look, it's great. The Celtics, I think with Joe Mazzulla in particular, this whole expectations for the Celtics team night in and night out, a lot of it has to do with this team and what happened last year, right? What happened in this building, essentially, when the Celtics went down 3-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I just think a lot of the times Joe Mazzulla just really wants to prep these guys for anything and everything, right? Which he always says that there's no expectations and all that, because I think he looks back on that experience thinking, man, that happened quickly, and we lost all three of those games differently, three very different ways. So I mean, that's how fast it happens in the playoffs. Yep.
Yeah. And so that is good. So the other question is, Miami shorthanded tonight, Josue.
No, this Wi-Fi is just spot on right now.
Miami's shorthanded in the playoffs. Do you want to play this team or not play this team?
I want the Celtics to play this team because that's the ultimate, battle tested, whatever you want to call it. I mean, if we're talking about the Celtics are the very best team in the Eastern Conference, then that should be a win. Honestly, going into the NBA Finals, whoever's waiting for you on that end is obviously, or at least we've all agreed that that's sort of the scariest team this Celtics team should face. So I'd say bring it on, to be honest with you, man, especially if they're shorthanded.
I was muted. Bobby's going to join us in a second. We're also going to add Duncan Robinson. Here's Duncan Robinson about the Jalen play.
I want to hear this.
Little bit salty.
I mean, I just thought it was a dirty play, to be honest with you. That's how people miss entire seasons. Knock on wood, obviously, but those types of plays, I mean, you've seen them before and throughout the history of the NBA. Guys suffer really bad injuries from instances exactly like that. So just thought it was dangerous, unnecessary, and excessive.
Yeah, well, when you play with fire, John, I mean, those type of things happen. And what I mean by playing with fire is doing those wraparounds, doing these moves, these slick moves that it makes things restrictive for the opposing player. He was doing that, John. And look, I have to see the play again with Jaylen Brown. I mean, not the play that triggered the flagrant foul, but before that, because you saw plays in the first quarter, especially or no, excuse me, in the second quarter, when Kristaps Porzingis was complaining about, or before he was complaining about what happened with Bam Adebayo, which I really wanted to ask Joe Mazzulla about, but I didn't get a chance to. That's something that should be brought to the NBA. I mean, that kind of stuff shouldn't be allowed, obviously, but also there was one play in particular where Bam did something similar again, and then when Porzingis popped out, Duncan did almost like a wraparound, almost like he didn't want to let him get into the play, and then he let him go. It's like these slick little moves that he does, and I feel like a lot of the times we don't see it. The referees obviously don't see it as well, so it goes both ways, John. In that moment, yeah, maybe Jalen sort of snapped, but it wasn't the first time. I would be really surprised. Looking at the tape, he does that stuff off the ball. These slick moves to restrict, Jalen from getting back into the play and stuff.
So you think Robinson brought it upon himself? I
do. I really do, because I saw him do it to Porzingis. I saw him do it to Jalen in that play. But again, I don't know if that was the very first time. I really don't think it was the first time. I just don't. I just think Jalen snapped because he was like, "Listen, man, you keep doing this."
Yeah, and that's the thing is you get a lot of those guys who kind of play the who me game,
For sure.
Like,
for sure.
Oh, what? Like kind of plausible deniability when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, what are you talking about? I'm just playing, man.
Right. I'm just trying to fight the screen. It's like, no, that's not how you do that. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Don't grab somebody. And that's what happened with Porzingis. He was trying to fight through a screen. He's sort of like when Porzingis was trying to make a play, he sort of hugged him for a second. And Porzingis looked at the referee again, like, hey, like he's doing it again. I don't know, man. Duncan's gotta. It goes both ways, and obviously Jalen reacted the way it was warranted. I get that. I was afraid that he was going to get tossed, but flagrant one, okay, that's fair. But you just keep playing, and it was a fair call.
It was a fair call.
It was a fair call. Yeah. I was just again. I don't think it would have been fair if he got tossed, and I was afraid that was going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I can't tell if Bobby wants to come on or not.
He flashed for a second, right? I guess he wasn't ready.
Do you want to come on, Bobby? I can't tell. Yes, no? I don't think so. I don't think he's ready.
Nah, that face. I don't think he's ready.
Yeah. Intent Bobby face.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I just really want another series between these two teams. I love the chippiness. I love the what happened last year, obviously. Celtics forced Game 7 after being down 3-0. Obviously didn't go their way, but what a heck of a series that would be if these two teams were to meet up again.
Yeah. We do have Bobby Buckethead in the house. Again, I don't know until Bobby tells me or gives me a thumbs up or the middle finger if he wants to come on. Thumbs up.
Flip him off.
All right. Yeah. What's up, Bobby?
Great win. Love that one.
Yeah.
Another late game finish, crunch time victory with some execution down the stretch. You felt the effect of Porzingis in this matchup again. Dust ups throughout, as I'm sure you guys talked about there. And
we did. And Bobby, I do have Jalen. I do have Jalen talking about it.
Jalen's response.
Yeah, I can put Jalen's up and then we can talk about it on the back end. Here you go.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think it was something.
Nope, too loud. I'm not going to use that one. We'll fix that and we'll bring it up to you. But anyway, go ahead. I have another version of that. We'll cut it and we'll put it on the air. Go ahead, Bobby. You were saying about the game?
Yeah, it was a tough one, I felt like, because you did get two huge runs from Miami out of the timeout in the third quarter. I think that was the 13-2, and then out of the altercation in the fourth quarter, where I think Miami pulled as close as 2 there. So you had to withhold those runs. They run this great dribble handoff offense that was able to get them shots going downhill. But then the key, I thought, was some awesome stops against Bam after that run by Tatum. I think Horford had 1 or 2. Jalen had 1 as well. So Miami shifted to trying to attack some wings with him. And that just blew up in their face. Some horrible sets for the Heat there where the Celtics completely blew it up. Tatum's was the best of them all. Probably one of his best defensive plays of the season, dislodging the ball twice there and forcing, I think, what was a miss at the end of that. So this was a defensive win, defensive game. Porzingis had some stops. I thought Horford played great defense off the bench. You saw him switching a bunch, changing matchups on out-of-bounds plays. So you saw the Celtics' defensive might in this game alongside their ability to go after some of the weaker Heat defenders, figure out the zone. The Heat were running zone right from the tip, and the Celtics were able to get pretty good quality shots off against it. And a good balance game. Holiday was in the wings shooting. Brown and Tatum both got pretty much an equal amount of shots off throughout. Brown finished a little sloppy, but started the game strong. White more in facilitation mode in this one, it felt like. And then Porzingis, just a monster game against the smaller back line and pulling Bam up to the top of the three-point line, even on the plays where he wasn't involved. Yeah, it made a big impact on the Celtics' ability to get to the rim. I think the Celtics started like 9 of 16 inside in this one or something like that. So they were able to get there a bunch. Finishing, still a little bit an issue at times. But I like the approach in terms of getting downhill against this team.
Same, man. Same. That healthy balance and just finding the switch, Tatum doing his best, his two-way game impression, man. I shouldn't even say that anymore because this is part of who he is now, but just affecting that side of the floor. It just makes a huge impact. And obviously everyone, it gets everyone going. I thought the same thing could be said about Derek White. A little bit of Derek White, but more Drew Holiday, just getting his hands, in the passing lanes and just disrupting the Heat's offense. I just thought that stuff went a long way, man. But yeah, man, just a great win.
Porzingis also said his back's fine after the game. He did take a shot to the groin as well. Who else asked that but Gary, Josue, about the hit to the tough spot. And Kristaps wanted to challenge it.
Did he talk about it?
Yeah, Kristaps wanted to challenge it, but I guess Missoula felt like he still bumped Bam a little bit on the front end of it, so they weren't going to win it, and maybe they would have got a free throw out of it or something. But
I don't think Joe saw the replay, man. The replay we saw, because we didn't see it in real time. It was the replay where you can see what Bam was doing down there.
You may even get a hostile act off,
so to speak. Yeah, that's very hostile. I was uncomfortable watching that video. Okay, very uncomfortable, very hostile.
Yeah, you might have had a situation where it's still an and one, though.
It's just not the way you're taught to defend, right, guys? Like, if we're going, back to the basics here.
Well, they did end up challenging an offensive foul, which wasn't successful, which is a weird play to challenge, too. You don't usually see that.
Moving screen, and the moving pick.
Yeah, in the third quarter,
you don't
right?
See that
fourth.
very often.
So
I just feel
not a good use.
I hate
of it.
all these. I hate all of these. I
know
they won the first. The first one was so obviously winnable.
Right.
It's people keep.
You just take it.
People keep tweeting Joe's. Here's the thing. They tweet. Everyone's tweeting his record on challenges. Just show me the record of the ones that you wish you had a challenge left over for. You know what I mean? Is like that's really what it comes down to. These first quarter ones. I just don't think there's any circumstance, unless it's like something that draws a third foul on a key player or something like that, where it has enough long-term impact to warrant a challenge. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing, John. An
out-of-bounds play is ridiculous to me to challenge.
Those are the type of plays that should be challenged. Like that's when. Look, when this whole thing started with the NBA and doing the challenging thing, I was like, okay, great, because there's so many plays that happen so quickly, and then we see it on replay, on TV, and it's never brought up to the refs. It's never, you know what I mean? It just goes. I mean, maybe they see it after the fact, but no one's penalized most of the time. And maybe this one would be different, but that's a flagrant, John. I mean, he grabbing people like that. Like, what's wrong with him? Like, I just think that's the kind of stuff that.
No, I meant the first quarter
right away. No. I know what you mean, but like,
I don't challenge that ever. Even though it's an automatic win, I don't challenge it later because I just want to save him for critical moments. It's just a possession early in the game. I never challenge that.
I just think that's something that if the referees review it, they're not calling foul on Porzingis. Like it's just that's the type of stuff I think this is worth reviewing.
Yep, fair enough. Bobby, what else you got? You were in talking to the guys.
Yeah, I love Joe the most. You get a lot from a game like this, I feel like. Late game execution, going through some runs, crowd noise, all that kind of stuff. And I feel like the Celtics even got banged up at times and had to probably play through some stuff. There was a play where Horford stopped Bam at the rim, looked like he banged up his right hand on that play, was able to stay in and finish the game strong. You had some adjustments throughout. There was a stretch, I think, second quarter, Cornet's in there with a double big look. They shifted to Brissett quickly when they saw that wasn't working. So this felt like it had a playoff level of execution, adjustments, and intensity by the two sides. And I know the Heat are going to come out of this pretty frustrated, as Duncan Robinson was there with some of the physicality. Two awful injuries for them in this one, too. Took a massive hit out of their ability to win the game. So, if we're doing Heat post game here, you're just saying you lose Rozier, you don't have Butler, and you lose Richardson as well. You're just not going to win this game. So this probably is a moral victory for Miami coming out of this one. To go down the final possession or two with a fully loaded Celtics team when you're missing all three of your ball handlers is a pretty encouraging feat for them.
You really only had Hero who could handle the ball, so that was
and he did a pretty good job late getting to the basket, still getting his shot off, and that's why you end up going to Bam late in the game because you don't have those other guys.
Guys, I got to check out for a minute. I may pop back in, but I'll let you guys talk amongst yourselves for a little bit.
Yo, how's John just gonna bounce on us like that? It's not cool.
I can come back at any point in time, but I got a situation. So you guys take it. If you're not here when I come back, so be it. Just say bye to everybody.
Isn't that something you text us? But all right, yeah, we got this. Bobby, what happened in that locker room? What else?
Yeah, we had a little Tatum talking the physicality of the game. A pretty similar conversation of what we've talked about here overall. And he got asked about needing to defend yourself at times out there, how much he talks to guys. He said he's not really a talker out there on the floor in games like this, guys that he knows he'll talk with. He said he was going back and forth with Bam a little bit during this game. So he's one of the guys that I think needs to get a little bit more comfortable in these kind of situations too. Being able to bang with guys, trash talk a little bit, go back at some guys, be there for Jalen on the floor. I mean, he got asked about the Jalen play and basically said he didn't really see it, didn't have much of a comment on Duncan calling it dirty there. I'm sure we can get that clip in just a second from Ahmed here. But this to me is beneficial for everybody. Everybody needs to learn from this on the Celtics side. This matchup still, Josue, to me, is going to be there in May. Somehow, some way, the Heat are going to get healthy. They're going to rally late in the season, whether it's through the play-in tournament or a late season push above that line, and they're going to figure out a way to get into the second round. And maybe it's a first round series between this team this time around. It obviously came very close to happening last spring when the Heat lost that game to the Hawks. Right. Atlanta moves on to Boston in that spot. So you got to be ready, because no matter who's out there on Miami's side, as long as Butler's there and being aggressive, you see they have all the makings and coaching and the ability to keep these games close. And Porzingis is going to be that difference maker, right, Josue?
Yeah,
I don't think
man.
there's any way that he can
Such
beat them.
a huge difference maker. But honestly, Bobby, halfway through this game, I'm loving, the game plan, going inside, the physicality and all that. But then remember when Porzingis checked out, goes into the locker room, and I'm like, where did he go? And then I start thinking, oh, wait, that's the risk that you run, right? If you keep putting Porzingis in the paint, physicality. Because look, I love that matchup between him and Bam Adebayo, but you wonder, how much of that throughout the course of a best of 7 series would impact him, right? I mean, physically, his health, all that, and we got 2 people limping off the floor in the first half, and it's going out the first half. But that's the kind of physicality, that's the kind of game that you're going to get, kind of series you get when these 2 teams match up. And I don't think either one's going to let up. So you wonder what that looks like. And before you hopped on, John asked me if you would love to see that happen. Even if you knew the Heat were shorthanded with injuries, would it be great for the Celtics to match up with them in the best of 7 series? And I encourage it, because I feel like the Celtics, if you're the very best in the Eastern Conference, then you take on all challenges, and you see who's waiting for you once you reach the NBA Finals from the Western Conference. And I still stand by that, but you wonder how much of that would affect Kristaps Porzingis in that type of series, because let's face it, the Celtics are at their best when you're having that combination down low, and that's part of it, right? You're going to get a lot of physicality down in the paint between Bam Adebayo and Kristaps Porzingis, and he won't be the only one. There will be guys coming off the bench doing the same thing against Kristaps. So you wonder how much of an impact that would make in a best of 7 series in terms of his health.
Yeah, and I asked him a few minutes ago why he's having success in this series, and I think we got, thanks to the Heat's great PR staff here, Josue, some cumulative stats from this series for the season. And as far as the Celtics go, in the Celtics-Heat matchup. Tatum came out of it 47% from the field, 35 from 3. The assist to turnover ratio 18-4. So those are just some incredible numbers for Tatum in this matchup. Brown came out 53 from the field, 44 from 3, 8 assists, 13 turnovers. So this is still a challenging one for him, and we can get to him to end the show here. But Porzingis, to cap it off for him, 20 for 35 against the Heat this year, 57%, 7 for 14 from 3, 14 to 17 at the line, 22 rebounds in 3 games, 5 assists, 2 turnovers, along with 3 steals and 3 blocks. This is the matchup we looked at coming in. I think I wrote even in the preseason training camp, Josue, that this is the matchup he's going to impact the most. Going against
Bobby,
that zone.
this is the matchup that triggered the trade to begin with, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Go on. I mean, like, if you're Brad Stevens and you're looking at how to beat the Heat or what's the best way to match up against them in the series, like all equations point, all solutions point towards getting someone like Kristaps Porzingis. And I think that's a big reason why he was such a priority during the offseason.
So you love what Tatum's doing here, especially recently with the passing. You love what Porzingis is doing. He's playing his best basketball of the season. Jalen here, tough one. Forget the altercation, and we will get Tatum's reaction to the altercation in just a minute here. 13 turnovers in this matchup. We obviously know the story from these finals, the way they guarded him. Tonight, some erratic play, especially late, that go-ahead pass. I think it was that Highsmith grabbed in the corner to nowhere. That's a tough play in crunch time. And those were some of the empty plays, the ones with the ball going through him. The transition plays, he got blocked a couple of times at the rim by Bam. I liked his aggression early in the game, but that aggression went into a little bit of overdrive late and ended up hurting the Celtics. So this is still a tough matchup for Brown, and they have to find the balance of where they utilize him on the floor, how much ball time he gets. And for him, it's the awareness, knowing that some guys are going to come at him from some untraditional spots, especially when Bam's out there. And he's going to be a guy who chases you down in transition. Not many players defend transition like Bam does.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's the difference. I mean, forcing Bam to go out there and defend him at the 3. I mean, he picked up fouls quickly as well. I mean, same time though, who had 3 fouls at halftime? So I love the matchup, but I think because of the guys the other guys in the starting 5 that Kristaps can turn to, it's a lot for the Miami Heat. Clearly, they made this one still interesting in that fourth quarter. But between Tatum and Brown, I mean, between Tatum and other guys like Derek White and Drew Holiday that can get going, it'll make for an interesting series. But the way they defend Jalen, not a lot has changed compared to what we saw in the Eastern Conference Finals. So you wonder what kind of adjustments Jalen needs to make in that regard. But this one really did come down to the wire. He missed 2 big free throws as well. I think if this game were ever to go to overtime or so, a lot of the pointing would be at Jalen. Let's be honest. What happened in that fourth quarter where he couldn't take care of the ball, and he missed a couple of key free throws, made a big play down the stretch as well. But the Miami Heat, I just feel like they really do disrupt his offense.
We are gonna wrap here.
Yeah,
because
man,
it is Super Bowl Sunday.
I'm getting bounced right now. This dude wants me to go.
Yes. I'm not gonna pull a Jimmy here and do game talk, but I'll get your prediction real quick, Josue. Who do you got?
Oh man, I don't want to pick the favorites, but up until this morning, even the last couple of days, I keep thinking that maybe they won't blow it, maybe they could, but I'm going KC, man. Give me the Chiefs. If I was a betting man, I would say that for sure. Who you got?
They're actually the underdogs on FanDuel by 1.5 last I saw.
Are they the underdog with FanDuel? Oh man, well then give me the underdogs then.
Yeah, certainly, and I think that's how everybody feels. They're like, Chiefs are underdogs. Mahomes over Brady, but Niners do have that complete team.
Right,
and
they
everybody's
have the
picking the
team,
Chiefs.
But the way Mahomes, I don't know, man. I feel like this could be that game where you're like, okay, Mahomes going to do it for, because you look back at the battle against Brady, and times where you feel like he's gonna, times where you feel like the other team could get the best of him, but maybe this is that one game where he puts it all together. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to go Niners just because it feels like the whole world's picking the Chiefs here, and they do have a very complete roster. Why not McCaffrey for MVP too? Maybe he's going to come through and have an all-time game in the Super Bowl. It's certainly an exciting stage to see him on. We're going to go figure out where to watch it here in Miami, Josue. If anyone has a recommendation, throw it in the comments. Miami Super Bowl spots.
Hit us up or hit us up on Twitter.
Let us know. Yeah, tell us on Twitter too here. And we are going to go record a quick hit, right? A quick recap, and we are off to watch the big game. But this one was awesome to watch as an appetizer here. Celtics beat the Heat 110-106, 18th crunch time victory for the Celtics this year, who continue to be great in that spot. They are now 18-8, tied for the most crunch time wins with the Bucks and Nuggets in the NBA this year. Ginormous difference over last season. They're on to New York, the Nets on Tuesday. Josue and I are heading up there. We'll have shoot-around coverage Tuesday morning. Make sure you check that out. Celtics All Access, CLNS Media, all the post-game coverage going up on CLNS right now from both sides. Thanks to John. Thanks to Amit. And we will see you Tuesday.
See you guys.